Brothers here. We'll talk a little bit about how the Bulls did in this last game against Bethune-Cookman and a little bit about what's coming up with Alabama. How you doing today, Matt?
Hey man, I'm hanging in there. I think it was a good last weekend, so I'm excited to go into this next week and just taking it day by day and looking into this game as much as I possibly can.
Absolutely. Yeah, this has been a big one. We've definitely all had this circled on our calendar for a long time now. I guess since last year when we faced them in Raymond James. But yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the Bethune game. What do you think? How do you think our boys did there?
I think they did as well as we could have expected. We went in as those 40 point favorites and came out 40 points on top. So
Yeah, 45 points on top to be
right,
exact. And
45
yeah,
points on top. Two games
I
in a
have
row are where we won by 45 or more points there.
that's right. That's right.
We'll
One
take it.
against a Power Five opponent too.
Right,
But yeah, so I mean, this game, quite honestly, we came out and we did our job, right? We did exactly what we needed to do. And for me, I was glad to see. Obviously, we knew we were going to score a lot of points. Our offense has been there and showed up for this game too. But really, what stuck out to me was the defense. I think we did great. I know it's against Bethune-Cookman, but we held them to what, 15 yards for the first half. We really stood strong and didn't let them get much at all. And so I was very happy to see that. Um,
right. Yeah, I was hoping for a shutout. I think this is as close as it gets, obviously, to a shutout. I think I'll take it. But yeah, they stood their ground. They kind of showed they were the dominant side. At least on those side of things, they showed they were the dominant team. Um, yeah, I was it three interceptions? I think one unfortunately, you know, resulted in an injury for a starting linebacker there. But
yeah,
I think we'll get him back. But overall, I mean, they showed a dominant performance. I think they're on the defensive side of the ball for sure.
yeah. Well, first of all, we will get him back. Yeah. So I think in the coaches' press conference on Tuesday, Galesh said he should be back by Miami or Tulane, which is good. It's a shame we're not going to have him going up to Tuscaloosa, but I'm glad he's not out for the season. And there was nothing, no big injuries there. But
Yeah,
that was a scary moment. We also had a lineman go down as well, which I don't like to see injuries this early in the season. I don't like to see them ever, but we've got a good group, and I want to keep it as intact as possible.
definitely. Yeah, I think another thing, just to go back to the defense side of things. Something that we had talked about um, in the last episode was just getting to the passer.
Hmm.
And just to kind of circle back to that from last episode, I will say though, and we did have not only did we have those, I think it's actually two interceptions, but we had three sacks in the game. So that just shows you, we were getting to the passer, we were getting in his head, to him. We were able to put him on the ground three different times in that game, and then steal the ball away from him a couple of times as well. So I think that is huge moving forward for
That's
this
right.
defense. They have to keep doing that. They
Yeah,
have to
and,
do that
and
every
against
game.
two different quarterbacks, they brought in their backup quarterback, I think, in the second half, and we had two batted balls against them. So we were
Mm-hmm.
putting pressure, and then not only making them scramble, but getting our hands up in the air and actually defending the pass. And so I thought it looked good. We're going to have a real test next week against arguably one of the best offenses in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how they stand up to Alabama. Um, but I have high hopes.
Yeah.
I will say I'm keeping it realistic. You know, we're not gonna shut Alabama down, right? But if we can hold them, have some three and outs, not let them score every drive, I'll think that's going to be a win for us.
Yeah, I think so too. My goal going into this game is, of course, to win it. But I think a lot of people realistically just want us to go in there, and the betting people, I think, as well, are going to want us to go in there and just cover that darn spread. Cover
31
that
points,
darn.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's I mean that seems to me, and I saw an interesting article and they said, hey, if there was a an FSU logo or a Florida logo on that helmet, there wouldn't be a 31 point spread, even though, realistically, I think we're in the same ballpark as those teams right now, given what we saw last week. Um, so I just want to go in there and just kind of just tear that spread down a little bit and just say, hey, once again, knock knock. We're not, just because we're South Florida, we're not a pushover team here. We're going to come in there, we're going to score some points, and that's my goal going in here, is just to knock the door down on that spread a little bit, maybe get us a little bit more respect moving forward, and the Vegas side of things as well. But one thing I wanted to talk to you about too, going back to the Bethune game, something that we talked about a little bit, after the game, was the offensive production um, against Bethune-Cookman. I know
Hmm.
I would have personally liked to see Byram, be able to air it out just a little bit more. I know he ended up with 152 passing yards, I believe, 72 or 74 rushing yards, but
Hmm.
not a touchdown in the air. And I think, from what I remember, not really a overpowering ball over the top, which is something that I really wanted to see.
That's right. Yeah. And Galesh kind of brought up that, they were just trying to keep it simple this first game. And so, hopefully we will see that kind of open up, and him be able to air it out a little bit more. But yeah, I agree. That was kind of one of the lacking, spots for this past game was, you know, he didn't actually show us what his arm is looking like. He didn't show us that he can, throw it downfield to a, receiver in stride. And so, yeah, I'd like to see that, surface a little bit more. And, quite honestly, it's going to have to in the Alabama game. We're going to have some big plays. He is a great scrambler. We've got three great running backs. And so we're going to have some good offensive plays, but we're going to need to, break one over the top and catch a receiver in stride, a couple times in order to stay in this game. So that is something we'll have to you know pull together.
Right. Enough about Bethune-Cookman. I think let's. What do we think? Did we watch the Western Kentucky Alabama game this weekend? Were we able to kind of formulate some thoughts on what they're going to bring to the table against us? This coming weekend. What are we thinking here?
I did, yeah, yeah. So I think I think they're not bulletproof. I think we'll be able to get some pressure on them. We're gonna make Milrow get out of the pocket a little bit, which is dangerous. But we were able to contain for keep containment for Bethune-Cookman. So we'll try to maintain um, that same ability and keep Milrow contained. And I think our defense will give them a little bit more pressure than Western Kentucky did. And he Milrow threw a couple passes that were definitely not on the mark. And
Mm-hmm.
if we can capitalize on a couple of those mistakes, it'll put us in a really good spot.
Yeah, I think on the defensive side of the ball, once again, what we wanted to see last game is what we have to see this game. Going back to it, is get to Jalen Milrow in the backfield, make him make a mistake, make him throw the ball up in the air, and see if we
Hmm.
can capitalize and turn the ball over once or twice this game. That's going to be huge for us. Not only to keep them out of the end zone, but the more times that I think on the offensive side of the ball, or we can get the ball and put Byron Brown on the field, the more likely it is that we're going to score, even if it's going to be chipping a field goal or just getting us on the field and being able to pin them deep. Just the more times we have the ball, this game is going to obviously, and as basic as that sounds, obviously it's
Yeah,
going to translate into positive for us.
yeah, and bringing that up, so we are a fast-paced offense, and we actually, I don't know what coach's game plan is here, but that might work against us a little bit. Our defense is going to have its work cut out for them. That is for sure. And having them on the field as little as possible is probably for the better.
Mm-hmm.
And we we don't necessarily want to go out there and either go three and out or run down and score in two
Hmm.
minutes.
Yeah.
Because then our defense is coming right back on the field. And I know we got a little bit of depth on the defense, and we can rotate players in, so we'll keep them fresh. But there's only so much you could do to keep your players fresh against an Alabama. We obviously want to see Byron Brown get out. We want to see our fast offense, because that's going to be an advantage for us in actually getting down the field. But there has to be a balance there, right? We can't just be a fast strike and be quick in and quick out every drive, because that's going to hurt us in the end, I think.
Yeah, and you're exactly right, especially going into a game with Alabama. The biggest threat I think they have, and when it comes to these top 25 matchups, everyone's ones are pretty close. Alabama might have a few more 5 stars than Ole Miss or Florida or Georgia and vice versa, but it's the depth. How long can you run with those guys?
Hmm.
It's awesome if you have a starting 11 of 5 stars, but if everyone behind them is walk-ons and 1 stars, you can't keep up with those guys at Alabama. So keeping and of course coming into this game, we don't have that 5 star roster, but we've got some guys who can play some ball and who can keep up with those guys. So keeping them fresh, especially on the defensive side of the ball, like you're saying, you got to keep them fresh for as long as possible.
Hmm.
And you're right. Keep them off the field and maybe slow down, temper down that offense a little bit, just to keep those guys off the field drinking some Powerade here for a few plays at a time instead of constantly rotating. But I
Yeah.
do, yeah, I do definitely agree with that.
Yeah, and
Um,
it'll obviously have to be strategic, because that is a huge element of our offensive game is the fast pace.
mhm.
And so we can't completely take that away, but we have to pick and choose when we're going at that rapid fire pace. But that's obviously up to the coaches in the game plan. So we'll see how
Right.
that plays out. That's just kind of a thought I had on how we play and where we're going to play. Um, but yeah, so overall, I am very excited for this game. This will be, it will be a true measuring stick of where we're at and how we're going to be able to play against the teams for the rest of the season. We have some big games, for the rest of the season as well. We got Miami in 4 weeks, or I guess it's 3 weeks now. They're
Mhm.
nationally ranked. They were looking really good against the
I was gonna
Gators.
say, yeah, that's another game we could talk about here in a few minutes. Where I mean, we saw a lot, I think, against Florida there. So
That's right. Yeah. And, you know, I don't know if that was the pure dominance of Miami or if it was a lackluster performance from Florida. But either way, they look like it's going to be a little bit tougher than, at least I originally anticipated. Obviously, Miami fans and the national media has always had, Miami, walking over us, which is understandable, because again, referencing our near history, we haven't been, much of a speed bump. But we'll see. And so how we play against Alabama will really give us some real world feedback on what we have as a team.
mhm. Yeah, definitely. Um, And so, I mean, let's talk about the defensive side of the ball, how we're going to kind of attack their offense as well as, one thing I noticed in that Western Kentucky game is that their offensive line, it's not invincible, certainly not invincible.
Not,
Um,
yeah.
I think there was a couple of busted up plays where I know Jalen had to kind of run around and make something happen with his legs, and I think that actually kind of ended up turning into Alabama um, working design run plays, and because they realized that Jalen is he's on point and he's making good decisions. So let's just put the ball in his hands. So they were pulling guards and getting guards outside and getting guards on linebackers and getting in front of them. But that being said, that was just because on the passing side of the game, they had some holes. They had some holes in that offensive line, and I think that'll be interesting to see. And I think if we can keep that pass rush coming into this game, we might be able to make a little bit of shake there.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what we want to do. We want to put some pressure on them. We want to make them have a variety of plays, have some running plays and we want Jalen Milroe to be, scrambling a little bit. We want to try to make him make some bad decisions. So our secondary who were matched up very well in the Bethune-Cookman game, could possibly, come up with an interception or, come up with at least some batted down passes or, put some pressure on the receiver and really challenge. We don't want Jalen Milroe to be sitting back there, with all the time in the world and, be able to pick us apart because that's how that will be our demise. So if we can keep that pressure, which again seems like a real possibility, if Western Kentucky can do it, we are as our players put it, we're able to play with anyone in the country. And that includes, this SEC line in Alabama's offensive line. And if Western Kentucky, who I don't know if they're on the same feeling that they can play with everyone in the country, if they could put pressure on Alabama, I'm thinking we should as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. Put that pressure, and then I think everyone in the country is going to agree with this, and this goes for any game you play, but especially in a game like this, we're going to have to figure out how to establish a run game against Alabama. We are going to have to we're going to have to be able to kind of hone that defense in and spread them back out. We're going to have to keep them on their toes because if they figure out in the first quarter, hey, these guys can't run the ball, you know,
Well, we established a good running game. We had our three running backs all did very well. Last year we had Wright, who played against Alabama. He did very well in that game as well. So,
very well.
we
Probably one of the best highlights of our whole season, I think, came out of Naquan Wright in that game against Alabama there. So,
that's right with that huge hit right there in the hole. I
mm-hmm.
agree. But we have the tools. We have running backs who can break tackles, who can get out in space and make some plays. And I think it's good that we do have the three running backs. We have the depth there, so we're not just pounding the same guy into the line the entire game, right? We can rotate them and get some try to make something happen. If it's not working here, if it's not working with this guy, we could change things up. And again, Galesh said they kept it simple for Bethune-Cookman. And so I'm excited to see, kind of what he has up his sleeve for Alabama. We might have some, a lot more, cooking than what we originally showed. And I can only assume that we do. Galesh is a great offensive mind. And so I'm sure, he's had his eye in this game for the last 12 months as well.
Yeah,
And I'm sure he's got something ready for Bama.
yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to see. I think but I'm glad. I'm glad in that presser, Galesh did come out and say that, hey, we kept it simple. That was our game plan. Just because watching that game, I think I was getting nervous that it just didn't seem like that same flashy offense we saw at the end of that season last year. And that's what we were coming into the season saying, hey, but we got the offense, let's make the defense. Well, and don't get me wrong, the offense looked great last game, but it just wasn't as flashy as I'd liked it to be. And but we did have to split some playing time up. We did have three running backs,
Mhm.
including a running back, Kelly Joyner, who last year spent almost all of his time as a slot receiver. So getting him back in the running back room, I think is going to be great because that's where he was supposed to be in the first place. And I think that's where he's most comfortable. So that's going to be
Mhm.
exciting to watch him kind of develop through this season as an actual running back versus a guy who's just kind of helping out the team as a receiver. Um, Back to Naquan, I'd love to see him a little bit more involved, but maybe that was strategic. Maybe that was, hey, keep him off the field a little bit, keep him out of the tape
Yeah.
room for Alabama. But I'd
Yeah,
love to believe
and
that.
we were almost maybe using this game as a preseason game. right?
Hmm.
To spread the love around a little bit. So yeah, I agree with that. It almost maybe was strategic to keep Naquan Wright
Yeah,
a little bit underused.
yeah. Just get his legs loosened up, but not show everyone too much. Kind of keep it behind the curtain a little bit.
Mhm.
I totally agree with that, and that's actually a perfect way to put it. Almost like a preseason game. You got to see some second string quarterback play out of Bryce Archie, which I was extremely impressed. I know
Mhm.
he's coming in to when he transferred over to USF from I believe it was Coastal Carolina.
Mhm.
Um, we we knew he was a good quarterback, and so awesome to have him in that quarterback room. Him and Byram seem like to be almost best friends. So good relationship in the locker room. He comes right in the game and throws a beautiful pass to the back of the end zone for a touchdown.
Yeah.
So love to see that. And also they got to flash a little bit of special teams. I don't know if you remember that. Was it a 53-yard field goal attempt by the
Yeah.
new the kicker here? Was it John Cannon? That's his name. Which
Yeah.
talk about a cannon for a leg. I mean, he booted that ball. I think it was like a 42-yard attempt right before that he just nailed too. So that's that's a
Yeah.
confidence booster kind of going into the season too. That hey man, if that offense who's supposed to be that high scoring, high drive offense, if they sputter out, I mean we got a guy that's going to leg it out from almost 60 yards. So that's awesome to see too.
Yeah, which yeah, we also have Grammatica is a backup kicker for us as well. He got in for an extra point, but we do have some
A bit of
legs
Tampa
on. Yeah, yeah,
Tampa
that's right.
royalty. There we go.
That's right. The whole Grammatica family, I think there's quite a few NFL and collegiate kickers there in that family.
Yeah.
Yeah, which yeah, that was good to see as well. It's nice to know that we do have range. So we won't get caught in no man's land and not be able to come up with points. When we're at the opponent's 35. We'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to you know come up with three. Or at least have the ability to kick, to take the shot, and
Mm-hmm.
try to put some points on the board. So that's very good to have in your back pocket as well.
Yeah, definitely. Or if you remember from last year too, Coach Galesh didn't show that he was too shy to go for it on fourth down there too. So
I know.
we've
Which
got
we the first drive of the BC game, the Bethune-Cookman game, we went for it on fourth down and we didn't make it.
yeah,
So that was
true,
that
very
was
true.
not starting off on a great note. We did have another fourth down attempt where we did convert, but yeah, so he's not afraid to go for it, and that's a good thing. We want we want a coach that's going to be aggressive, going to go for the win, going to go try to keep driving down the field. And so that's what we got here now, and we're going to ride this pony as long as we can, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, hopefully that mentality kind of turns into like a microcosm of our whole program, not afraid to go for it. I mean,
Yeah,
we're
that's
right
right.
there at the line, punch it
Stay
over.
aggressive, stay bullish, if you will.
Yeah. There we go. There we go.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
so another thing that I kind of want to talk about for this Alabama game is Alabama, they think this is going to be, kind of a blowout here. They've scheduled this game to dedicate their field to Nick Saban,
hmm
which obviously Nick Saban's been there for a long time. He's won a lot of SEC championships, national championships, and he's done a lot for their school. So that's going to be a special moment for them.
yeah.
And last year in Raymond James, Nick Saban wasn't so happy. He was having a tough time dealing with not only the Bulls but the inclement weather. And so he's not so happy with us with the Bulls. I don't believe,
hmm
and it'd be
Yeah.
really nice to rain on his parade just one last time. Come in and give them a run for their money, and
Yeah.
they're going to be naming it Nick Saban Field. It'd be real nice for us to be able to spray paint Byron Brown Field on the
Oh
over
yeah.
at at the end of the game there. That's dreaming big a little bit, but we
Yeah.
have the opportunity.
Yeah. We were definitely a tension point in that coaching office at least last year. I know they, just going after the game, they won the game. and that's what they needed to do. But just after that game, they went into those press conferences and got grilled. I mean, their alumni, their the staff, the school, the students were not happy that that game was as close as it was. And I think back to what you said, the inclement weather that had a lot to do with it. And I've also been seeing a couple of reports that that might be kind of rolling through Old Tuscaloosa on Saturday. There might be a little bit of inclement weather, which from a couple of Alabama, football accounts have even made mention of, oh gosh, like these, the Bulls are bringing the weather with them, and they're going to come and try to do the same thing they did last year and give us a hard time. So that'll be fun to see. I'm sure, the Alabama fans are they're gonna have a good day naming the stadium after their hero Nick Saban. But
Uh-huh.
just like you said, wouldn't it be nice to just be able to really kind of rain on that parade.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and we'll see how it all shakes out, but it will be a good game for us. We're going to be excited, and as I said before, we're not going to be unrealistic. We definitely don't think we're going to go in and blow them out. We are hoping to go in and give them a tough game. And if we can do that, if we can play our, USF Bull football, go in, and be firing on all cylinders, and if our processes are right, which Galesh is big on, we should be able to go in there and give them a tough matchup. And if some things go our way, we put some pressure on Milrow, he throws an errant pass. If we can get some lucky breaks, uh, we could be in this thing going into the fourth quarter, and that's really what we want. That's what we're looking for. We don't want the stadium to be emptying, halfway through the third quarter because it's no longer a game. And if we can keep that stadium full, I know that it won't be a win, but I'll think it'd be a positive momentum for our game and for our team and for the rest of our season. I think at least if our boys can come away with their heads held high and feeling proud about how they played Alabama, that's really what we're going for here.
Yeah, yep, and covering that dang spread,
31 points.
covering that dang spread.
Yeah, so I think the over under is 68, right? And so just doing some quick math, if the spread's 31, over under is 68, they've got us scoring, 18 points or so, and Alabama scoring 50. And so we'll see how that goes.
It's
We
rather disrespectful, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
I
can see where
think
they're coming from there. But it's like,
mhm.
as a Bulls fan, you're like, come on, guys, come on. But we didn't do anything last year on defense to prove them wrong, and we haven't had that big of a tough of a matchup this year. But
Yeah.
I mean, shutting out Syracuse, I mean, that's got to stand for something, right there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
yeah. We'd like to think so,
yeah,
but yeah, I think personally we can score, more than 18 points. I think we're going to be able to score on them. We're going to have because we're not a one-dimensional team. We've got weapons. We've got Atkins, we've got Brown able to run the ball. We've got Wright and Joyner. We've got some running backs. We've beefed up. Well, I guess not beefed up our offensive line, but they're mostly the same players, but they're tougher. They've played
recently beefed
together.
up.
They should be beefed. Yeah, yeah. And so, I'm thinking we'll be able to put some points on the board, and if we can keep them underscoring those 50 points, that'll be a positive for us.
Mhm.
And quite honestly, yeah, I think it's going to be much closer than that 31. I don't think we'll have a problem covering the spread, but making it closer than that ridiculous spread that they have. That's what we need to do, and it's going to be tough. But quite honestly, they say diamonds are made under pressure, right? And so this is
Yeah,
going to be some big pressure on us to perform here, and let's see if we can come out and shine.
definitely. Yeah, well, I mean, I think we did a good job here covering kind of what happened last week against Bethune-Cookman. What our thoughts are. You know, strategy wise, kind of going into this game against Alabama. I think you know we just talked about the spread, and I wanted to see, kind of before we, get close to the end here. I just wanted to see, what is your actual score prediction?
Hmm. My score prediction.
As a
Uh
USF fan, but as a realistic football fan as well. What do we think's going to actually happen here? You know,
yeah, so that's a good question. I think, I'd like to say, let's go 31 to 31 points we're going to score. It's four touchdowns and a field goal to, let's say, maybe 42 that they'll score. I hate to say it, but, being realistic, they're probably going to beat us. And so I would say, more realistic spread is at 11 points. And they'll, I think it's going to be 31 to 42, Alabama taking
31,
it.
31 to 42. I think uh, that's a little bit higher than I had us. I don't think I think we can reasonably keep them around 30 31 points. I think I have us closer to the 31 to 17 mark. I give us two touchdowns and a field goal. I think I think we score early, but I think that Alabama defense is going to kind of bear down a little bit on us. But
Hmm.
that being said, that's that's a good ball game for us. I think that shows that our defense is going to kind of step in there and not let these teams run up 50 points on us. I mean, if we can once again last year, and I know we got to stop going back to last year so much, but we held them to what 17 points last year. But then we give up 42, 48 something points to FAU.
Hmm.
So let's go back to Alabama, right? And hold them under that 50 or was it 68 point over under. Let's hold them. Let's back them down a little bit and stuff them. And I think we get out of there with our head held high, and we move on. And I think we make the best out of the rest of the season. But yeah,
Yeah.
I have us at about 31 to 17 is what I'm predicting. Especially with that
Yeah.
rain coming in, we're gonna muffle out their offense just a little bit.
Oh, you're doing a rain dance, are you?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, definitely doing a rain
Uh,
dance this game.
yeah, and we are similar, and it's about two scores that we think Alabama's going to beat us by. Um, I think we'll be able to score. I do think we'll get a defensive touchdown. I think we're going to be able to put enough pressure. And from some of the throws, I saw Milrow make last week. He's not perfect.
Mhm.
He's good, but he's not perfect. If we can get him out running, and trying to throw off balanced, we might be able to come up with one. Um, so that's kind of where I'm at. We'll see. It's going to be a good game no matter what. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see. I'm just excited, just to be there playing.
Yeah.
I will also point out that the last time, we played an SEC school in Alabama, we won. We played Auburn, in 2006 or so, and we took it to them. So it's
Okay.
possible. We've done it before. We just got to bring back the glory that is USF football.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I mean, totally agree with you. And I mean, crap, guys, you heard it. You heard it here first. USF on top in Alabama. So
Yeah. Yeah.
USF on top in Alabama.
After our game predictions, after our score predictions, you heard, we might win.
Well, just saying, in the past, we have been on top in Alabama.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
we're going to go
That's
back
right.
with those high hopes and, hope we have a good game against those guys over there. And yeah, it's going to be a fun day for, the fans. It's going to be a fun day for the program. Uh, you know, just watching our guys go out there and play that premier talent. But I think this is the week we've all been waiting for. And it's here. It's
That's
time.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but no, other than
Let's
that, guys,
go Bulls,
yeah, definitely go Bulls.
And
I think that's going to
also,
be.
So we are the Bulls brothers, but we might in parentheses put the boys. We
You know,
know that we say too much, and so we're going to try to back down on that. But we're hoping this is going to be a good game for us here, and we're excited.
definitely. Well, you guys, thank you for listening to another episode of Bulls Brothers. Follow us on Instagram at underscore Bulls Brothers. Please do DM us, comment on the video. We want to hear what you guys thoughts are. Give us things to talk about. And that's just going to fuel us even more to talk about what you guys want to hear. So, other than that, once again, thank you for your time. We will be back on here next week, hopefully after an awesome game against Alabama. But other than that, it's going to be the Bulls brothers signing off.
That's right. Go
All
Bulls.
right, go Bulls.